Ben Wang, the movie star, has arrived in the studios. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ben. Congrats on the new film.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited to do this interview and to start things off, to kind of give you a sense of who I am. Is most people would describe me as a movie buff, so it's always been something on my bucket list to interview a Hollywood actor, so I can check that off now. I appreciate the opportunity, and hence also why I asked you during the Q&A if you could give me a lead role in the next Star Wars film, which had a bit of a disappointing answer.
I can't.
But okay, that's fine. You know, if you happen to have any other strings you could pull, that would be fantastic. But
I'll keep my ears open.
All right.
You're a movie buff.
Yes.
I wanna get to know your specific genre. There's different types of movie buffs, you know.
Oh yes.
So what if you had to do your letterboxed for which 4 movies would you pick?
Oh boy, that is tough. I'm one of those people that when they ask me what my favorite movie is, I give the most difficult answer possible. It's like, well, I have like 10 different favorite movies.
You can't really have a favorite movie.
Sure,
I don't think that it really works like that. But if you had to pick 4 to, you know, if a guy was like, yeah, I'm with Letterboxd, what are your 4? What would you say?
Great Letterboxd reporter impression, by the way. I would say, okay, Avengers Endgame, just because best theater experience I've ever had. Everybody was cheering.
Oh yeah.
Number 2 would be like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
I think going classic there. Number 3 is going to be a little bit more of an obscure pick, probably Knives Out. I love that movie. Yeah, you ever seen that movie?
Obscure. I saw it in theaters.
Yep, you did?
Ryan Johnson.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you have a secret project coming up with Ryan Johnson that you want to share with us?
It's not Star Wars. And I can't pull any strings.
All right. That's fine. I'll forgive you. And then number 4, I'm going to go Oppenheimer. I love that movie.
Oppenheimer.
Yes, Christopher Nolan's work is out of this world. So, how about you? Let's see what your Letterboxd top 4 would be.
I've spoken to the Letterboxd man.
Have you?
I have.
Really?
I have given him my official top 4. And the 4 I chose were, let's see, Ratatouille, amazing film.
Yes. For a number of reasons.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
I think it's perfect. I think Napoleon Dynamite is a perfect movie.
Wow.
And what I mean when I say perfect is that there is not 1 second, 1 millisecond, 1/24th frame of that film that feels like it shouldn't be there. It's a stupid movie about nothing, and yet it feels
real. Right. Yeah. Well, because everybody kind of knows someone who is like Napoleon Dynamite.
I don't know if that's true.
So,
I feel like we say that because we're from here.
Well, hopefully I'm not described as Napoleon Dynamite. I normally wear glasses. I have the contacts in today, so that helped.
Nice. Let's see. Oh, so those are 2.
Yeah.
Yi Yi.
Okay.
Have you heard of?
No, I have not.
Yi Yi is a Taiwanese film from directed and written by a guy named Edward Yang, who is, by some estimates and by my personal estimate, the if not one of the greatest directors of Asian cinema. It's longer than Oppenheimer.
Oh, really?
It's about 4 hours long, but it doesn't feel like it when you watch it. Most movies are about something, but very few movies are about life. This is a movie that's about life.
Very ambitious.
And it somehow captures all of it. Yeah, it's really a work of genius.
That's interesting. I'll definitely have to check that out because I do love like those ambitious, sprawling films, you know. It kind of depends on what mood you're in, because sometimes you're in for, you know, kind of like a low-key heist thriller or something like that, and then other times you're in the mood for something big and very cinematic, you know.
It's also, and this is one of the hallmarks of, I feel like, East Asian cinema specifically. It is about life, but it's also pretty small. It's about a man and his family, and the things that happen to his family over the span of about like a year. At the turn of the millennium in the year 2000 in Taipei. A truly remarkable film.
Fascinating.
I'd recommend it to anyone who likes movies.
I'll give you my review after I check it out. But what's number 4? What's rounding out the Letterboxd top 4?
I might have to pull up my interview What did I say? I said,
We can get our professional fact checkers to
oh yeah,
to,
what is it?
to check you in post production.
Hey, Jamie, can you pull up the Cabaret? It was Cabaret.
Oh, really?
Cabaret, Bob
Fascinating.
Fosse's Cabaret.
Okay.
It was the movie that made me want to be in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Saw it for the first time, I think, when I was 15 years old. Changed my life.
Well, I'm 2 years older than that, and I still haven't seen it, so I don't know if I'm qualified to even do this interview anymore.
Get on
but
it, man.
Yeah, I know. I do love the Turner Classic Movies. My grandpa and I will watch a lot of those, and I mean, they're great. There's some awesome oldies that a lot of people, especially in our generation, don't know about even.
Yeah.
So it's great to be able to see those and see how cinema has evolved. So I think that your Letterboxd top 4 has told us a lot about you, Ben Wang. So let's kind of get into your history with Northfield, if you will. So you were born in Shanghai and you immigrated here to Northfield when you were 6. What was that transition like, as much as you can remember, from coming from an entirely different country to this small college town of 20,000 people where everybody talks about a Jesse James bank raid?
Yeah, I was born in Beijing.
Oh, Beijing. Okay, my apologies.
But I lived in Shanghai. Shanghai was the place that I moved to the U.S. from. And really, when I first came to the U.S., the first place I lived was it's technically a Faribault address, but it's out in between. It's in Cannon City, technically. Yeah, it was a strange change. I would say it's a strange change. I remember I have a very vivid core memory of coming into Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport in March, and it was a snowstorm, and we were driving out of Minneapolis probably down 35 or down Cedar or something like that, into Northfield. And I remember looking out of the window at what I now know was a frozen cornfield. But back then it felt like I'm a little bit older than you. Do you have a PS1? You ever play the PlayStation 1?
No, I'm not a video game person, I'm sorry to say.
Okay. Well, for those of you listening who remember the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2, there would be games that, because of the technological limitations of the console, anything like your character would be walking through town, and anything like past 6 feet in front of his face would be in an unrendered void. And it would only load after you walked into it. That's what I thought. I was looking out the window. I was like, oh, the world hasn't loaded yet.
Right, yeah.
Because it was literally like white and then black nothing for like 100 miles.
Right. Your whole perception immediately shifted.
Yes. Because normally there's at least, in the world that I was used to living in, there were at least a couple of buildings. But I think I was too young to know that it was supposed to be a weird change. Because, I came when I was 6 years old, and I think when you're that age, you just assume anything that happens to you is what's supposed to happen, right? So I was like, oh, I guess this is something that happens to everyone. You go to a foreign country where everyone speaks gibberish, and the world has not loaded yet. I guess that's what's supposed to happen to a kid, I think is how I felt.
You didn't realize how unique of an experience it was going to be looking back on it.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, I'm curious when your interest in theater and acting started, and I'm also interested in how that maybe correlated to your presence in the community and maybe feeling more embraced by your surroundings, if that makes sense.
Sure. I don't remember why I wanted to do theater or to act or to perform or to do something in that space. I just remember that I wanted to do it. I remember I liked the idea. I was like, because in all the cartoons, the kids always have a school play. There's a school play episode in every cartoon, and I don't know. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be in the school play, and I didn't even know we had school plays here. I really started from zero when it comes to understanding how anything works here. So the first place I would learn about how American life worked was in a cartoon, and I'd be like, "Does that apply to my real life?"
Right.
So I saw in a cartoon that they had a school play. I was like, "Oh, is that something that I can do here too?" And then someone was like, "Yeah, there's a school play. Yeah, there's a Prairie Fire is doing
Sure.
who's a McCall and whatchama title." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. I want to do that." And so then I did another one, and then I did another one, and I found a group of people that I really loved, and I found a thing to do that I really loved, and I thought was a lot of fun, and I did it for fun for the rest of my time here in Northfield, and then I made a decision to try to do it for money also, and it worked out.
And one of the people that I'm sure inspired you in that regard was Bob Gregory Bjorklund, who is also present at the White Center screening. What has his mentorship meant to you over the years and the lessons learned from that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really do contribute about 100% of my success or the reason as to why I am where I am to luck. And what I mean by luck is instances of, for example, where I happen to be in a town where there's a great local theater scene, where I happen to be in a town where there are great mentors like Bob. One of the luckiest things in my life is that I have met a series of teachers and mentors who have believed in me even before I believed in me. I think I would not be doing this professionally had I not met those people, and Bob was the first one of those. Bob was one of the first, not one of, he was the first person who said, "Hey, I think you could do this professionally." And when he first said it to me, I didn't believe him. I laughed it off. He remembers this. But he planted that into my brain. Because of him, I went, "Oh, someone thinks that I can do this professionally." And that helped me think that I could do it professionally. And there have been many other teachers like that throughout my career that have gotten me to where I am. And Bob was really the first.
Who were some of those other teachers along the way?
Really wonderful teachers in college. Ones that, again, believed in me before I believed in me. There were teachers who said, "I think you could be a leading man." Right? And I didn't believe them. I said, "No, I can't do that. I'm a bit part guy. Maybe I'll book a commercial here or there. That's all I can hope for." They go, "No, I think you have what it takes to be a leading man." I've had teachers who say, "I think you can work in film and television." And I went, No, I'm a stage guy. I'm a musical guy. I can't do film and television." And here I am. I've had teachers who say, you have a singing voice that could be advantageous to working in musical theater. And I said, no. I'm just, I mean, I can maybe sing in an ensemble. I can't. And then I worked with them, and sure enough, what they believed became true. And I have been working in film, television, and local musical theater ever since. Right? These are all lucky moments with really good teachers.
A little encouragement goes a long way, usually.
It's not just encouragement. It's meeting someone whose opinion you really trust. When they speak to you, they mean what they say, and their first priority is to tell you the truth about yourself so that you can learn. That's what makes a great teacher, right? And these are the people who, when they said those things to me, I go, "Oh, well, I mean, I believe you." This is, I knew when they were saying it, it wasn't just sort of empty encouragement, that they meant what they said, which helped me believe that what they say could be true, right?
So it's kind of about having someone that you really honestly trust is going to tell you the true thing, no matter whether that's good or bad. And that makes the advice all that more profound, I would say.
Yeah.
Has that been your experience?
Teachers.
Right.
Good teachers. It's hard to really quantify what makes a good teacher.
Sure. It's kind of an abstract
Yeah.
personality almost.
But you know him when you meet him, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Bob is one of those people who I've had the pleasure to work with before.
Absolutely.
Before you blew up in the last year, you did a short film here in Northfield. Was this when you were still living in New York? You want to give us a little bit of background on that?
Oh, I think that happened during the strike. So there was a Hollywood
sure.
strike that several of the unions went on strike to demand a fair contract, and because of that, there was not a whole lot of work out there for a while, and so I think this was over the winter, and so I said, well, I've got some free time. I'll go back to Northfield, and yeah, the idea just came into my head. I said, why don't I, make a little film while I'm back there? And I gathered some friends. I wrote some pages. I brought my camera, and yeah, we shot a fun little movie with people in the community. It ended up screening at the Minneapolis Film Festival and also at the New York Shorts International Film Festival. So yeah, those are just a really fun thing that I was glad I was able to do here in the community.
So, since you were also involved in the process of creating that and directing it, I'm sure, did that give you any insight into whether you think that your long-term plans belong in front of or behind the camera?
I couldn't tell you. I would certainly like to do both.
What lessons do you think you've learned being in front of the camera that could help you behind the camera? Whether that be from directors or just on-set experience?
Part of being in front of the camera is understanding what's happening behind the camera, because it helps your work in front of it. So being on set, working closely with some of the best filmmaking professionals in the world, yeah, definitely, teaches you a lot about what it takes to make a good film and why it's so hard to make a good film. The more movies I make, the more I realize how much of a miracle it is that there are any good movies at all. If you if you think about it mathematically, good movies really shouldn't exist. There's so many things that have to go right for a movie to even exist and B, for it to be good. That it's I really treat any good movie as sort of a work of magic and a work of miracles. Karate Kid Legends, a conservative estimate would be that probably over 10,000 people, had their hands in some part of the whole process of beginning this film and then making it and then editing it and then scoring it, and then foleying it and then sound designing it and then color grading it and then marketing it, and then projecting it, selling the tickets.
Surrounded by all sorts of other movies that have done the same thing too somehow. It's it is kind of wild how that occurs, and you see that a lot too. Like when there's these documentaries on all these sorts of classic movies and everything. It's like
those documentaries, when you watch them, you're like, it always feels like, oh, this was kind of an accident that it was that good, right? Because it kind of is.
Yeah.
Because it kind of is it's such a roll of the dice. You could have a great script, you could have great actors, and still it could not turn. You could have a great director, you could have any combination of things that it takes to make a great movie. But if you don't have all of the things all at once, it just doesn't happen. So when it does, it really feels like things have tumbled just by chance into the right place. And then forget it. And then how many times has there been a great movie that's been made, but then it just came out at the wrong time? Or it was marketed the wrong way, and so people didn't see it, and so it wasn't a success. Until 20 years later, and someone on the internet makes a video essay about how Speed Racer is the greatest movie ever. And you go, oh yeah, it is. It just happened to come out between The Dark Knight and Iron Man. So.
Yeah, exactly. Just off the top of my head, even it just learning these stories and everything, I could name a ton of movies that have been that way. Like The Empire Strikes Back, my favorite Star Wars movie. Many people's favorite Star Wars movie was not very well received at the time. I think even Raiders of the Lost Ark, which we talked about, Apocalypse Now, and those are just movies in a very short window of time too, like 4 years. And there's so many that have become classics and have been reevaluated over time. So that's very true. So do you want to kind of take us through your career from studying musical theater in New York to this new movie that you have coming out now and landing jobs in Hollywood? What that process has been like?
That would take a long...
The abbreviated version, if possible.
I'll give you the bullet points.
Sure.
So I went to New York University. I was in the musical theater program at the Tisch School of the Arts. I studied in that for 4 years. Met a lot of great peers, met a lot of great teachers. I did their film acting program for a summer. Got my agent there. I started working while I was still in school. So between my sophomore year and my junior year, I did my first ever paid gig, which was an off-Broadway musical, an original off-Broadway musical at Playwrights Horizons. And I graduated. I got my first TV gig in the spring of my senior year, which was 2020. So the first time I worked in television was March 6th or 7th through March 14th of 2020.
Not ideal timing.
No, but I mean, I got one in.
Yeah, just in time, too.
I got one in before the end.
Yes.
Literally, we were on set, and all the actors were like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this thing that's coming out of?" And you know, some people were like, "Don't worry about it; it's gonna blow over." And some people were like, "It's the end of the world." And I was like, "I don't know." And then, like, literally, we wrapped, and the next day was like, "No more filming for anything forever." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Guess I'm gonna be unemployed."
It's all
for a while.
over. Yeah.
So I graduated into the pandemic, which meant there was no work for me. So I came back here to Northfield, and I stayed here through 2020 for a couple of months, and then I got a little stir crazy. I was like, I got to get back to New York. So I went back to New York, and I got lucky again. There were some things that were shooting. So I got my first job with Disney, like fall of 2020, which is actually crazy. In fall of 2020, we were shooting.
Wow.
In Los Angeles. It was like triple. It was like every day you had to get swabbed 5 times, and then everyone on set had to wear a mask and then another face shield on top of it.
Double up.
But I got work nonetheless. I got paid.
What was this project, by the way?
This was a short film project for Disney for a program they have called Disney Launchpad.
Okay.
Which is sort of a series of short films. It's still on Disney Plus. This is like a series of short films by sort of early career directors, I believe, from like diverse and historically marginalized backgrounds. So I did a film with a Chinese director, and my character spoke Chinese. That's cool. Because again, that's not the kind of thing that I thought I'd be able to do. Because I didn't think that those roles would be available for me in Hollywood. I thought
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if I'm gonna act, I'm gonna do it in English. So that was cool. And then after that, another year went by. I did some little things in between, and then I booked a show called American Born Chinese, where I play one of the main characters. And that show has in it Michelle Yeoh and Kiwi Kwan.
Both Oscar winners.
And Stephanie Hsu.
Wow. Oscar nominee.
Oscar nominee. Everything Everywhere All at Once came out while we were filming that.
Oh,
wow.
So
I got to, through the filming process and through the press tour, I got to watch their like incredible rise. It was really, really amazing.
It's like, oh, wow, these people are...
Yeah,
very good.
Blasting off.
Yeah.
From there, and before that, I was also in a Disney Plus original film called Chang Can Dunk.
Oh yes, I've heard of that.
Which is, in my opinion, a sleeper hit. It's underrated, guys. If you haven't seen Chang Can Dunk, it's a great movie.
Check it out now, streaming on Disney Plus.
It's a really fun sort of Disney movie that's like, it's deeper than you'd expect, and it's so much fun making it. I gotta shout out that movie because I feel like of my filmography, that's the one the least number of people have heard of.
Interesting.
So I would say that it's a really fun sort of. It's not really a sports movie, but it's about a kid who really wants to dunk a basketball. Simple premise, but brilliant execution. So and out of American Born Chinese, I auditioned for Karate Kid Legends, and since then it's been nonstop filming. I filmed Karate Kid Legends last year, winter to summer. I was filming this, and then right after that, I filmed The Long Walk, which is directed by Francis Lawrence. Based on a Stephen King novel. That's coming out this September. I did that for 3 months, and then I did an indie film called Brian, which I'm really excited about. It's produced by Seth Meyers, written by one of his writers, which I just saw. I just saw like an early cut of and was really blown away by it. And then I just finished filming earlier this spring a comedy from the guys who did Wet Hot American Summer, and it just one of the funniest. I think the funniest script I've ever read.
Really?
So yeah, like a really goofy sort of broad comedy. I love it. And yeah, next I'm gonna go do the Hunger Games. So that's it. That's the last 10 years for me.
You have a lot in the hopper, and you've had a lot in the hopper for the last 10 years. Do you mind if I embarrass you and read what some people said about your performance in Karate Kid Legends?
Some people? Who are these people? Is it my mom? Did you call my mom? Because you can't read it if it's my mom.
No, I did not call your mom. It's this is from
my mom would actually have critical notes. My mom she came to see my like school plays at the high school. Like after you go out, there's the meet and greet with the parents. Like everyone else's parents are like, "Oh, wow, you did so great, Jimmy. Oh, wow." My mom came out like straight to me. She had notes. She was like, "You could have done this better. This could have been different."
The constructive criticism parent. Yeah. Well, no, these are not from your constructive critical mom. These are not anybody related to you. This is well, first of all, I'm curious, do you read reviews when any of your projects ever come out?
I try not to.
Yeah.
I don't really think it's a very healthy thing to do.
Sure. Yeah.
It's hard to avoid it because like even on Instagram people will like write their reviews and then they'll tag you.
Yes.
And so then even
you can't help
get to
but
something else, it'll like come up and I'm like, I didn't want to see that, but that's very nice of you. Or I didn't want to see that. Now I feel terrible about myself.
These ones won't make you feel terrible.
Okay.
If I can just read a few here. Collider says, Ben Wang is a great new lead for this series, not just for some stellar martial arts skills, but also for his almost effortless charisma and lovable personality.
Collider, thank you.
Yes. Also thank the good folks at Mashable. Ben Wang is a marvel, making the leap from the lead in Disney Plus's American-born Chinese to Karate Kid Legends. Wang has to deal not only with balancing teen drama with fight choreography, but also standing up to iconic martial arts movie stars, all while making a Karate Kid his own. He does all of this with an astonishing ease.
That's very nice of Mashable.
Other great reviews for your performance from Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, very elite movie reviewers. I'm also wondering, another great reception was right here in Northfield at the White Center screening, which I mentioned in my intro. What was that like, that kind of homecoming, walking into a room with 100 people cheering who know you and being able to see that movie?
Yeah. It was a little strange. I mean, it was genuinely like moving for me, genuinely, because every single one of those people at the White Center, especially for the that adult and community showing, every single one of those people is someone I knew growing up and someone who has been a part of the reason for why I am where I am. Speaking of teachers. My elementary school teachers' grades 1 through 5 were all there.
Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. I remember every single one of them. I remember something I learned from every single one of them. The strange part is it's a very unique thing to like. I don't feel like not very many people get to have a moment like that in their lives, right? Where they walk into a room where there's 200 people from your life there to help celebrate a thing that you're a part of. It's a bit surreal, but I was genuinely moved by just seeing everybody there.
And I can say that the moment I knew I wanted to interview you was when you were handed the microphone right before the screening, and you talked a little bit about the film, but primarily about growing up in Northfield and the impact of the Northfield community really on the film. And I just found it really touching that. But it's very important to keep that hometown kind of as a good grounding for where you are. And I think that your comments that night really illustrated that you have done that, as evidenced by the fact that you are still in Northfield right now. You're literally in the KYMN studio doing an interview with a high schooler who you have met one time. So I appreciate that.
Of course, I really do genuinely love this community so much, and I like being here. So yeah, and this interview was a no-brainer. I met you one time, but I've known your work for some time now.
Oh, well, thank you.
Cosmo, I've seen you here and there. You've been doing this for a while, haven't you?
This one I've been doing for a year now. So
yes, but
been keeping me.
I've done being a part of local media.
Yeah, I've done some stuff pretty much since 2019 when I was like 3 feet tall. Yeah. So yeah, but I appreciate that, and Northfield appreciates you. And before we close this out, I'm wondering if you would be up for a quick rapid fire test.
Okay, if sure. I don't know if the return fire is going to be as rapid. Okay. Let's do it.
All right, no worries. So part of the local media that I've been involved with was I did another show here on KYMN called Curtain Call with Cosmo and Pauline, with my good friend Pauline Jennings of the Arts Guild, and we interviewed local actors. And so I stole some of the questions that we normally ask them from this for the rapid fire round. So first of all, the greatest role you've never had. Is there like a dream role on stage or on screen that you are vying for? No? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Happy with whatever comes your way?
Yes.
I've never heard that answer before, but I think it is a great one. Best and or worst audition story?
Worst audition story. One time when I was auditioning for colleges, I was auditioning for the University of Minnesota Guthrie program, and it was supposed to be a straight theater program, so you're just supposed to bring a monologue. So I brought a monologue, I did it, and they were like, "Can you sing?" And I was like, yeah, I can sing." They were like, "Sing us a song." And I was like, okay. So I was blanking out. I was nervous. I was sweating in my pants. So I was like, I will sing. I had just seen Cabaret. So I was like, I will sing from Cabaret Willkommen, which is the opening number for Cabaret. And I started, and it goes, Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, right? So I did those lines that I knew, and then I realized the rest of the song is in German and French.
No.
At the time, I did not speak, I didn't know the lyrics. So I was like, she's, okay. I'll just make it up. They'll never know. I was like, Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, Steifers, Unsteiweist, Vliede, and I did like a whole 16 bars, absolutely making up the German, which in hindsight, these people are theater people. They knew what the lyrics were.
Right, you couldn't
But
fool them.
to make it worse at the end of it, I was like, phew, I made it through. They didn't suspect a thing. And I was like, thank you I was like, great, thanks. And one of the people on the panel, she went, she hadn't spoken the whole time, and she went, great, that was very good. Thank you very much. I was like,
oh gosh, wow.
So that was pretty bad. I got into that program actually, so I just didn't go.
Wow. Let's see.
So
you
I guess
pulled it off, even though you invented French and German phrases. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't think you're gonna have to audition as much now, but next time you do audition and you have to sing a song, please pick an English song from Cabaret.
Thanks.
But hey, man, if you still got into the program, then sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, favorite role that you've had, whether it's on stage, on screen.
This sounds like a media trained answer. This sounds like some yeah. No, but it's the actual truth. My favorite role is whatever one I'm working on at the moment, because it's the one I'm thinking about the most at the moment. Yes. So and that's the one that I'm the most excited about. So right now it's the role that I'll be playing in the Hunger Games. I'm thinking about that pretty much 24/7.
Wow, that's awesome. We're looking forward to seeing that. That comes out 2026, right?
Yeah. The future.
other stuff coming out before then too. So
Mhm.
folks, keep an eye out for Ben Wang. Well, thank you again so much for coming in. One last thing before you go is you might have noticed that I brought a poster here.
Yes.
Any chance you would be willing to do an autograph
The
for me?
chances are good, Cosmo.
All right.
Chances are very good.
You've done these before. You're a pro at it, right? So, which that poster, by the way, is courtesy of the White Center. So, thank you to the good folks at Carleton and Northfield Public Schools. Awesome. Well, thank you. And last thing before we go here is, how do you think being involved in the Northfield community has changed the trajectory of your career?
Well, it began my career. I'm you know, this is one of those statements that I guess it doesn't really mean anything because it's true of anything, but you are where you are because of where you were. You know.
It's a good tongue twister, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it feels a little bit like a Yogi Berra quote because it's like it sounds deep, but it's not really because it applies to literally anything. But it's true, right? I'm where I am because of where I was. My lived experience led me to where I am, and half of that was here in Northfield. More than half at this point. At some point, it'll be half, and then at some point, it may be less. But
Mathematically,
mathematically, yes, that's how time works. But I think the values and the unique perspective that growing up in a town like Northfield has really served me as a person and also as an actor, because as an actor, the greatest tool you have is your personal lived experience. And because mine is very unique, it gives me an edge over actors who, don't know what it's like to live in a small town, don't know what it's like to live in a community like this. They have a different set of lived experiences that help them, but generally, the more unique your experiences, the more that differentiates you from everybody else in the business, the easier it is for you to, slot into projects that are looking for something different, right? Like in terms of, like, even for this character, this is a character that's it's about a Li Fong, the character that I play, moves from Beijing to the United States. I have that exact lived experience. It's a unique one, right? But having that experience help me understand this character, and it probably helped me get the part. And so there's a lot of things like that from my time spent here in Northfield that have, definitely informed the work that I do and have helped me get to where I am.
Well, I'm sure you know this, but the Northfield community is rooting for you, and we're there every step of the way in your career. And I can say, personally, I am very excited to see where your career goes. I'm not just saying that because you're a guest right now, but I think that there's a lot in store for you, and just save me a seat at the Oscars.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much, Hassan.
Yes.